Hello fellas, welcome back to a brand new video. I've came to one of my favourite places. I've came to Paul Linfoot Racing. We're going to do a little update of what Paul's got in. I follow him on YouTube, so I'll just let you come down, have a look around. So Paul, what have you been up to lately, mate? What have you got in? What cars? What have you got for sale? What projects are in? Do you know what I mean? Just what you've been up to.
Well, we'll start with this one. This is the latest car to arrive. Some of you guys who tune in regularly probably see we have another 500 in the other workshop that was a barn find. This isn't not a barn find. The guy's had it for many, many years. He emigrated to Australia, but he lives in Scotland, and the car's been in a garage in Scotland for, I think, about 15 years, maybe even a bit longer. And it needed a bit of TLC when he left it there, but he has realised that it's deteriorated a little bit, so he brought it to us basically to recommission it, get it back on the road. Obviously it's mucky because it's horrendous weather at the moment, and we just wanted to get it in the workshop, so we'll take it out and give it a wash so it's safe for a bit of work. But unfortunately it's a bit worse than what we were expecting, really.
This is a RS500, not a Cosworth, isn't it?
It's a genuine 500, but by what we can see, it needs a pair of new wings on it. The inner wings.
That's quite a common place for them to go as well, isn't it?
It is, but it's gone quite bad as Adam. It's had, I think it'll probably end up having a new inner wing in that side. You can see here the wings corroded. It's had a knock at the front at some time in its life, and it's had a pair of wings on it. And basically, when they've welded the wings on, they haven't sealed it properly, and it's corroded. So we're going to do that for him. The engine, believe it or not, is sweet as a nut. It runs absolutely lovely. So we'll put a belt tensioner on it, service it, go through it just to make sure it's safe, and then put it on a ramp and see if it needs anything underneath. Give it a good polish, clean, wheels refurbished, new set of tyres. And
I think it's going to need some work underneath, isn't it? Looking at the engine bay, and I think it's going to need some.
Unfortunately, you know, people say to me, I get loads of phone calls, where do you look for these Cosworths to rot? I said, anywhere from back bumper to front, the Fords. But normally when you see them rotten like that on the inner wings, it's very, very rare that you get a car that'll rot in just one place and everywhere else is perfect. So a lot of fingers crossed that when we put it on the ramp, it isn't too bad. So,
what kind of miles is on this, St Paul?
I can't remember Adam, to be honest, but I know he's had it a lot of years. I'll just shift that out a bit. How many miles does it go on?
59,000.
Yeah, and it's genuine because he's had it a lot of years. So
a nice car.
I think a lot of these are coming out of woodwork now, Adam. You know, people have had them.
Like with the prices of them, and
yeah, exactly, and they think, well, it's time I got it out. So yeah, that one's, we've got to start that one, but we're not going to start that one till we get rid of the other one that's in the other workshop that we'll look at in a minute.
So this as well, I thought you were stripping this, Paul. I thought this was a...
Well, if people leave us alone to get on, but no.
Stop giving you work.
Well, me and Steve have agreed that this year, what we're going to do is we're only going to work 4 days a week.
Right.
So we're going to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on customers' cars. On Friday and Saturdays, we're going to do our own cars.
All right.
Well, we're just not getting anywhere, you know, nothing done. So the engine is going to come out of this next Friday.
Right.
And you can hold me to that. So next time you come, the engine's going to be out of this car, because ideally we would like to race this year, me and Carl. So we've got to whip the engine. It starts and runs, it runs lovely, the engine's quiet, but obviously we need to strip it and just make sure we need to strip all the wheel bearings and put new ones in and grease them, give it a tidy up on the paintwork, put the original livery back on it. We're not going to make it mint because we want to race it. So this will be started next week, I promise you. It will be started. You know, like we got it running. We give it a steam clean off.
But you're not going to go full hog, nice restoration on this, it's just going to be...
There's no point when we're going to race it. We're going to tidy it up, paint all the bumpers white like they're supposed to be. The body kit should be white, like it was when it was the Duckham's livery. So we're going to make it look pretty, but we're not restoring it. We'll do that. The plan is do maybe a couple of years with it, racing it. I want to see Carl drive it again, and I want to drive it with him. And then once we've done a couple of years and we've ticked that box, then I'll strip it to a bare shell, put it on a rotisserie, make it absolutely mint, and then I'll put the original 4-stud wheels back on it, which this car raced with in period.
The rally suspension type setup.
Yeah, so I'll put them back on it, because then it won't be raced anymore. It'll just do demo stuff and that. So I'll put the original 4-stud RS500 wheels back on it.
And is this a car you've got in for sale at the minute?
Yeah, this is in for sale. I would love this myself, to be quite honest.
Looks cool, mine, doesn't it?
Well, I'm not a fan, I'll take this off. I'm not a fan of, or I never was a fan of wide arch kits on Cosies, but this, I think because the paint is so immaculate on it, it just looks absolutely stunning.
It is clean paintwork. Is it just been built?
No, it was built, a guy called Sheldon Partridge built the car from a shell a few years ago, did a couple of track days with it, and that's all it's done.
So it's done a couple of track days?
I think he did 4 track days with it, and that's all it's done. But the paint on it is absolutely stunning.
It is.
It's the same underneath, it's all beautiful paint underneath, all Group A anti-roll bars and that on it. And I think personally an absolute bargain.
How much is it up for?
65.
65.
It's Harvey Gibbs 500 odd horse engine in it. Opliger Motorsport inlet manifold, one of them twin scroll dustbin lid turbos.
Put a bit of kit.
Proper, but it's got a Cosworth dog box in it, you know, dog box, so you can just bang it into gear, you don't need your clutch or out. Right. Not a Cosworth diff, forget what diff's in it, gripper, it's got a gripper diff in it.
There's probably 65 grand's worth of parts alone.
I reckon the engine box and diff would probably cost you not far off that. If you had to start from scratch, and then, you know, buying a mint shell, because this is a mint shell, never been welded, it's got proper genuine BBS split rims on it.
Nice suspension.
I love it. I think it's a fabulous car. I would love to, this would be a great car just to go out with, do a few track days and just drive it like you stole it, really.
Oh, there's a fiberglass, the arches.
Yeah, it's got fiberglass bonnet and doors and tailgate.
Are the arches fiberglass?
Yeah, these are all fiberglass, yeah.
Made cool.
Yeah, it's a proper nice bit of kit, that.
So what's this Moonstone? I'm guessing 500 above?
No, it's a standard 3-door. Is this bought by a friend of mine? He was looking for a 3-door, couldn't find a nice enough car. He wanted a standard car and he couldn't find one nice enough, so he bought this that had, luckily all bolt-on mods on it. It had big brakes. The wheels are over there that have come off it.
Oh, right, I remember saying that last time.
Yeah, so we're just basically putting it back to standard. We've dropped the big intercooler and radiator out of it. We're going to put standard back on it, standard brakes back on it, standard ride height springs, take the gauges out of it, just to make it, you know, a standard car, really. So we're on with that now. We're just waiting for some bits to arrive. Obviously Christmas time, and we were away in America early December. So December's been written off, really, to be fair.
So what else have you got in, Paul? What else have you been up with?
Well, we've actually done some work to the original Dick Johnson promo car, because this was came to me as a shell. But on one of the other cars you'll see in a minute in there, which was a 1.6L, we stripped that. So we've put everything out of that back into this.
Is this a Cosworth shell?
No, it's just a 1.6L.
Shell?
Yeah, that was built up by Dick Johnson Racing as just a promo car. Was brought over to us here as a bare shell to build another full-blown Group A car out of. But I spoke to Dick Johnson and I said, Dick, the trouble is this car's got quite a bit of history. You see a lot of, on a lot of the Australian Facebook pages, a lot of people that grew up that are my age, that when they were kids, when this was a genuine promo car, they've got loads of photographs of them stood with it, sat in it. So it's got a lot of history. So we said, we'll put it back together. Obviously, it's going to have centre lock wheels and that put back on it, and we're not leaving them up. All the original body kit's there with it. So we're going to build it back up so it starts and runs and drives, give it a good clean, polish it, and build it back up as the original promo car.
I think that's what it needs doing. That's what I would do.
Yeah, it's got a lot of history. And I don't think, till it was mentioned to Dick Johnson and Ryan's story, that it has a lot of history. I think he'd taken a lot of notice on people, the amount of photographs that people had got with their kids sat in this car and that, and it means a lot to people. So it was stupid to use it when it's got its own history.
Cool thing.
Yeah.
So what else have you got in, mate?
Well, that's the Texaco car we're building. We're just waiting for the engine coming back from Harvey Gibbs. For that, it's the original brand new Egenberger race engine, the last one he ever built.
Really?
But obviously, because it's been stood for 35 years, you can't just put an engine like that back in.
So fuel and turn it over.
Yeah, exactly. So we've sent it to Harvey. He's going to whip the head off it, whip the sump off, just hone it out, put a new set of piston rings in it, all brand new gaskets, and then we can put it in. So that on, he's going to put it on life management for us, a modern management, a brand new engine loom. This has got a brand new loom in it anyway, and we've had the connectors made so that they just plug straight in together. So Harvey's loom will plug straight into my loom. So when that comes back, we're just waiting for that engine now, which funny enough, I spoke to him yesterday about where we were going with it. So that won't be long, and then we'll put the engine and box back in this and get back on with this car. Andy Kirkley's cam shipping car that we've been doing for years, that's over there in the corner. That's coming back out next week. He's been and raided his piggy bank again. He's got a few more quid saved up, so we're going to be back on that car next week, get that done and get it finished. We need to get that finished for him so he can do some demo stuff and that with it this year, so that'll be moving forward quite quickly.
Should we go next door?
Yeah, we've got our forklift there that we're going to do absolutely nothing with. Right, so this is basically the came to us, we bought this as a complete car. This is the car that we've robbed all the running gear out of, that's gone into the Dick Johnson promotion car.
Was this just a 1.6 as well?
Yeah, this is the next car that we're going to build as a Group A car, because the shell's mint.
So what will you do about the gearbox tunnel and stuff like that?
Well, we can change it. We'll
tunnel?
modify it so it's the same as a Cosworth, because that's the only difference. The shells are exactly the same. It's just basically where the gearbox tunnel is slightly wider for the bottom sort of 4 inches. So we'll cut that out and we'll modify that the same as a Cosworth, and then they're exactly the same.
So what kind of livery are you going to put this in? Or have you not even thought that before yet?
It's a secret.
Is it?
Yeah. I'll tell you when I can tell you, but this is, so far there's a plan for this car, but when I can tell you, I'll tell you.
Right.
But we're going to start this shortly. We've obviously been moving everything in this. We used to have a fabrication room outside, and because we're lazy and couldn't be bothered to keep walking outside, it was a pain in the backside. You know, if you're making a bracket and you wanted to fold it, and you want to fold it, and you want, you know, I've gone a bit too far or not, and you have to walk all the way out there. So we brought everything in here. We're going to have some walls built here that we've got all a big pile of wood there, look, to do it with. I'm going to build the walls here to make it a separate room, really, our fabrication room.
Nice.
So we've got plenty to do.
Aye.
This is the car that you did a video on with us, the
Barn find.
The barn find, the original barn find car that we weren't going to go mad stripping.
Mate, I tell you what, I watched you paint the underside of this car, and you seem to do it in about a week.
Yeah, it didn't take us long.
No? I was thinking, I need to get my Escort Cosworth down to Paul's. So him and Steve.
We were lucky though, Adam, to be fair, the shell was mint.
I remember, I did ask, and you were saying it's
absolutely
it's a mint shell.
The only reason we did it was all under the original primer and paint. You see what I call spidering, where you see little bits of rust that start to creep. But it's not rot, it's just like surface rust, but it gets behind all the paint, and that's when they rust. So we sort of looked and thought, we need to do that and preserve it. Plus, we were going to just wax oil all the cross member and the back axle and that, but when we steam cleaned it off, it was a lot worse than what we thought. So we've, as you'll see over there, Adam.
Is that what is on the floor here?
Yeah, these are all the bits off that car that we've had blasted.
You've got the rear beam and the bottom arms and
all the uprights, the front hubs, but we had to strip these, and when we did, it's a good job we did, because the wheel bearings had actually gone rusty.
Really?
They were rusty. All the seals had perished, the bearings had gone rusty. So obviously the guys masked them up when they powder coat them for us. So they mask them out.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Do you get that satin? Or is that a matte?
No, it's all like a satin finish, which is like they were originally. So we'll put all brand new bearings in there. We've had
the rear hubs.
There's the rear ones, yeah.
All the bottom plates.
Again, not a concourse finish.
No.
The guy wants to use
just
it.
Get rid of the rust.
Just de-rusting it, basically.
Preserve it.
Exactly. Preservation is the key for that. So we've got
nice.
plenty to do with that one. We're just waiting for the bolts to come back from zinc plating, and then we can start assembling that.
Are you getting this painted as well?
No, we actually they blasted that look.
I noticed it's got a bit of pitting in there in it.
It's got holes in it.
Not welded up?
No, I've got brand new ones made.
Right.
And I've already got them on the shelf, already powder coated black, so I'll just put a new one on.
Put a new one on.
There's no point in powder coating that.
And this is your first ever RS500?
It is. Now the engine's done for this. Spoke to Harvey yesterday. The engine's ready. There was a bit of an issue with this engine. They ended up completely rebuilding it, did the guys at SCS. They've rebuilt the engine from top to bottom. They've had it on the dyno, 505 horsepower on low octane fuel. Which
this was the Irish car?
the Irish car. So it was always a worry about their fuel. So it's been dynoed on low octane fuel, did over 500 horsepower safely, on life management. So that, well, it's due back is the engine, but he also wants the underside doing on this now.
Does he?
Very, very similar to the barn find, not concourse. He just wants it cleaning up, de-rusting. So we'll do the same with this as what we've done with that car. So it'll be a mirror image of that, really. As you can see, it's not rotten.
No, but it's at the stage where it needs doing.
Exactly.
The cars are getting that up. I would want it doing if it was my car.
Well,
and I had no interest in selling it.
I keep using that same wording, but it's true. It's preservation. You know, this car's solid. It's never been welded. It doesn't need any welding, but it, you know, it's flaky. Look, it's just surface rust. So if we do it now, do it to this standard, it's done for another 20, 30 years, isn't it, to be fair? Because these cars are never going to be used like they were when they were new. No. So you do a car to that standard now, and that car's never ever going to rot again. You're never ever going to rot, you know, have to do anything to that car in its life.
No.
So we've got
to get it done.
What our plan is to get all this sort of that car mainly put back together.
The barn find.
Yeah, get it put back together before we strip this one, because otherwise you end up with just
bits everywhere.
Bits everywhere. You don't know which bits for which car, and so we're going to get that put back together, then strip this.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So we've got, as you can see, we've got plenty to do. Too much to do, really. We're very lucky that I say lucky, it's an awful thing to say, but we're turning work away every week.
Oh, yeah?
Every single week we get asked to do
this. Do you struggle turning work away? Are you not bothered at this stage?
Well, yeah, we are bothered. We're only bothered because it's not a nice thing to say to a customer. You know, I'm sorry, we can't do your car. We're booking work in advance now to next year now. People ring us today. We can't touch anything till next year now. Don't get me wrong, it depends what it is. If somebody wants a service and a belt and a tensioner, we can squeeze it in, you know, like we're waiting for bolts to come back or something, we could slide that off a ramp and do it for them. But anything more than that, and we're into next year. You know, we've got that car to build, we've got the Texaco car to finish, we've got Andy Kirkley's car to finish, we've got my touring car, the Duckham's car to race this year. And of course, once the race season starts, you're away for quite a few weeks of the year racing. So that's all comes out. And before you know it, you think, well, it's only January. Before you know it, you're into December again, and the year's just flown by. Ideally, if I'm being honest, Adam, I could do with a mechanic.
So another employee? Yeah,
so me and Steve could concentrate on, I mean, obviously Steve does most of the fabrication work, because I've got to answer the phone, you know, do invoices, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, me and Steve manage doing the race cars, but the road cars are a bit, and that's why we sort of say to people we don't really want to do them. It's not that we don't want to do them, we just haven't really got the time. So I spoke to Steve before Christmas and said, do we look for a
mechanic,
a proper old school mechanic that we can trust, that can do the day-to-day road cars for us and take a bit of pressure off that. And if we can find the right guy, I think we'll do that really. And then we can do more road cars. But you know, every time I sort of put out there that there's a potential job, I get people from all over the country want to come and work here.
Which is from Cornwall, and
which is lovely. Don't get me wrong. It makes you feel proud that you get so much interest. But reality says it has to be somebody local, you know, that can drive here and back. I've had people from up your way. Oh, I'll commute. You won't. After 3 months, you'll get sick to death of driving that far. So if we can find somebody local, old school guy that, you know, knows how to fix a starter motor rather than just plug a laptop in it and go, the so-and-so sensor's gone, you know, it's a possibility. We'll look for someone else to take a bit of load off, really.
That's it, fellas. Thanks for watching, and thanks to Paul for showing us around. Like I say, fellas, I absolutely love coming down here. Amazing place to me. Paul does have a YouTube channel, which I will leave links to below, where you can check that out. What do you do on your videos, mate? Just kind of your daily...
Yeah, pretty much really what we've done with you today. We tell people what we're up to on a daily basis, what we've been doing, what our plans are, and we do a little bit showing people what we've, you know, while we're working on one thing and another. So,
but yet again, fellas, thanks for watching. Thanks to Paul for having us down, and I'll catch us on the next one. Cheers.